Welcome back, everybody, to the Backstage Boys podcast. This is Trent Long, my co-host,
Basil,
and this is episode number 78. Basil, I really do want to get an actual intro for this show. Can we like pay somebody to do that? Actually,
yeah.
Like,
how about we use your services since you have like 13 bands that you're part of?
well, we could do that. We could do that, but like you see the one I have on TNI, it's all like elaborate, it's all montagey and shit, and like. I mean, Rob did that for us. He was very kind of Rob Malinowski to do that for us. I can try to work him for one of these.
I can try to see if I can make one.
Yeah, we need an actual.
Well, once we're starting to build up our library over here.
We are. We're this is only episode 5 of being live. 4 of being live. We just
being live.
We just started being live. I still can't get over the fact that we were to tape for 73 episodes. And then decided, we're just gonna go live now when all the tools were at our fingertips the entire time to do it. It took a pandemic for us to wake up, Basil.
Horrible.
But we got a special guest today. We got more. This turned into a guest podcast, which another thing that we shifted around altogether, completely different. We have also still no intro. I mean, we have no intro. We're going live. We have guests now. I don't know what the hell we're doing half the time. I do miss Basil. I gotta say, the best intro was when we would start recording, when we would just be talking about like anything else, and then you do the legal snags, and then we're like, "Oh, we're recording. Oh, are we?" And then I'd act like I didn't know we're recording because I didn't see the message. And then I do the intro, and it's that whole gimmick, But I miss that too.
I do miss that, but I kind of like having our friends on the show. I think it's great. Next week, it is not as a ploy on our old gimmick, but next week, guys, it's gonna be a doozy. Like I can't announce it just yet.
Not yet.
In a couple days we will, but once it gets announced, you guys are gonna be so excited. But this week, we have a great guest. We have the portrait photographer for AEW, who also you might have seen some of his hard camera shots, especially now that they've been at Daly's place. And there hasn't been too many extra photographers there like there normally used to be. So we have one of my very good friends, one of the best photographers in the pro wrestling game, like sets the standard for portrait photography. We got Speedy in the house.
Let's bring him in. Speedy, get your ass in here. Oh, there he is. Speedy, what's going on? Hey,
we got the Speedy. We got the Speedy.
He's there. Look, he just popped in.
Look at that. Look at that. Not Basil.
Not Basil.
I mean,
Speedy.
Is it wrong? I mean,
Speedy, what's going on, man? Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
We're going to talk about you for an hour. I want to start at the beginning. I want to know where you were born. I want the social security number. That's all. We don't care about wrestling. We're just talking about. No, just
kidding. I just want to talk about 305 coffee for the next hour.
What is 305 coffee? Tell me about this.
So I'm part Cuban or Cuban. My parents are Cuban. I was born here, but a tradition, I guess you can call it, is a custom of Hispanics, especially Cubans, is to have like a specific type of espresso, which is Cuban coffee. And anybody who's in Miami knows what Cuban coffee is. It's just like a special way you make espresso, and it's like a kiss of Cuban culture in the espresso.
So delicious.
I'm very intrigued.
It's literally, I've made 3-minute long Instagram videos about this coffee.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, people know your cat, Miami coffee.
Definitely gonna make me some.
Yeah, it's so good, and it's the perfect like perk up that you need. Right, because we usually when do we get there? Back then before the pandemic, we would get to the venue around 11 o'clock, I would say.
Yeah.
But by the time we're all set up, it's like 1, 2 o'clock, and we're all like, bleh. Yeah. And then Speedy makes his coffee and makes the rounds, goes the rounds, and everyone's like, yeah, coffee.
Because you got to drink it in like these little tiny shot glasses.
Yeah.
Shot glasses to
really.
It's so like concentrated that like you have to drink in these little cups.
I'm gonna take you up on that next time. Next time you're in Chicago, Speedy, I'm going for that.
100%. I'll make you some. I actually have like a camera bag that I pack all my my cafetera is what it's called, my coffee machine.
Yeah. That's cool,
sugar
man.
coffee, all that stuff. Yeah, I take it everywhere I go. So yeah, next time I'm up there, man, I'll make.
All right, we'll do it. We're doing it for sure. Very cool. Very cool. So, guys, yeah, for anybody who just joining us, this is Speedy. He's the portrait photographer and hard cam photographer at AEW. So we are sandwiched between, I am sandwiched between the Impact photographer and the AEW photographer. But it's cool now because both companies are cool now and everybody's all one love. So we finally achieved one love in wrestling so far. The WWE is over here. They're not participating in the one love movement. We're all over here.
Who?
But that's cool. No, so let's talk about it, man. I want to I really do want to start at the beginning. I always love to know, because I know Basil's story. I've known him for, Basil, what are we on, 8 years now? 9 years?
9 years about, yeah.
And I knew his story about how he kind of morphed into photography, like almost really just by accident in a sense.
And I will say Speedy was one of the first photographers to sort of reach out to me when I started. Like, I was always noticing.
You tip your hat to him just now. Is that what you're like, oh, mind if I do?
I have a weird forehead, so I don't know where my hat is.
Yeah, so like I started posting on Instagram, and then Speedy was like liking my pictures. I don't know why, because they were absolute shit. And then and then Mouse invited me to a group that Speedy was in, and then that's kind of like more so how we started becoming friends. But Speedy's background in wrestling goes years, like way before I even picked up a camera. So let's hear from Speedy.
Yes, can you tell us about when the photography started and how it became wrestling photography? Because that's always an interesting take on everything. So let's hear that.
Yeah, so I picked up a camera because I was really heavy into skateboarding when I was a kid. You know, like when the Tony Hawk thing came out, and all the kids were like, "Oh, skateboarding!" So there was a lot of people in my neighborhood that just really liked skateboarding. So we all got together and we skated. I sucked, so I usually was the one that carried around a camera to take pictures and video of my friends instead of actually skating. So I just kept doing that for a while, and then my brother was doing backyard wrestling. He was doing the stuff everybody makes fun of and all that stuff. And then we found a promotion that was trying to kind of grow outside of the whole the backyard stuff. So we started going with them and setting up shows with them. Eventually found a school, and then my brother and I started training. I trained as a referee. He trained as a wrestler. And then I brought my camera over to training, and then instead of waiting around when the wrestlers were doing their thing, I just took pictures of them doing their thing, and then that translated into the shows that we were a part of. And then my brother was booked in other shows, and then I traveled with him, and we had this gimmick where I was his personal paparazzi. So I'd come out of his entrance,
which is funny. Which is like somebody's actually even doing that now on TV, which is funny.
Yeah, probably.
Is
it?
I hate him. I hate him.
I hate him. Is that what Caleb's doing?
Caleb with a K.
He took shots at Basil on TV this week.
He threw shots at me. He called me LARPing.
He said he was LARPing as a photographer.
I mean, to be fair, let's be fair here. Let's be fair. It's not that far off.
Right.
But anyway, go ahead, Speedy. So I'm gonna ask this real quick. Is your brother still wrestling?
He wrestles every now and then. The Miami wrestling scene has kind of died down a lot since back then. We have a promotion, but they're we do these convention wrestling things every now and then where it's just cosplay wrestling, and he'll cosplay like Mario or something like that. But that's about it. He's not as active. He doesn't travel or anything, but he's still got the skill. I'm far more active than he is in wrestling. So
you started doing that.
You're active in wrestling?
Yeah,
something like that, you know.
So you started doing the personal paparazzi thing.
Yeah.
How does it grow from there? Let me hear this.
And so I would go with him, and then I'd offer to be referee or manager for my brother. That would be the choice, and nobody would ever choose referee. So anywhere I go, it was do you want me to manage? Do you want me to referee? Do you want me to be a photographer? And they're like, oh, we need a photographer. So it eventually stopped being referee manager, and it started to be more full-time photographer in wrestling. So
which is always needed, right? Like it's always like I feel like everybody's like, oh yes, please take photos.
yeah,
Yes, if you want to, please.
especially back then, there was maybe like 3 photographers in all of Florida, and there was a ton of promotions. Not as much as today, but you know, there was a ton. And coffee.
Oh, is this Miami coffee coming up?
Yeah,
that 305 coffee.
Oh, there it is.
I don't know if maybe I can tilt this down a little bit. Look at that.
Oh, it's so good. I miss it so much. I miss it so much.
He makes awesome.
I like it. Very cool.
So much I miss it.
It's very nice. It's gonna be a long episode, guys.
So, where was I? So yeah, I saw this kind of like this. How do you say it? Like it was like a missing thing, you know. There was these 3 photographers, but they weren't everywhere. So my plan was to be where there was nobody. So I started growing in South Florida, and then eventually South Florida was not much left. So I went to Tampa and then to Orlando, and then just putting in the time, man. I started growing. Like it went from 1 show a month to 2 shows a month to 1 show a week to 2 shows a week to like overbooked. And 13 years later, well, now it's 14 years, I think.
14 years. Wow.
Yeah, in January I started taking pictures. 2008. I don't math. So whatever.
So you guys have seen. You've seen a lot of. I mean, obviously, a lot of the names on TV today. You saw them early days, especially when you got to Tampa and Orlando. I imagine, right? That's where, like, you were. Did you work like FCW and FIP and all that stuff? Or
no FCW. I went through FIP and Evolve a few times.
Yeah.
It didn't last time with the WWN so much, but I don't regret doing it because I met a lot of people there.
Sure.
It's that golden carrot that is a double-edged sword at the same time that both Speedy and myself experienced. I mean, like, I can't deny how good Evolve was for the wrestlers, more so than the crew. I mean, I got to photograph a WWE Championship match. It was the cruiserweight title with Gulak. So I mean, I really can't be I can't be too mad about it. But it's good to have that little tick, that little notch. So.
Plus, there's camaraderie in not liking that company.
Oh, there's a lot of camaraderie with that one.
Anytime you meet somebody who's been to that show and you're like, "Oh, can you believe this
son of a bitch?"
Yeah, me too.
Speedy
and myself would be like, "Yeah, I took photos at Evolve." We're just like, how much did you not get paid?
How much were you taking it?
It was more like, what's your story about not getting paid?
Funny. Wow. Isn't that funny? Like, that's the reputation. That's what makes me like wig out. Like, that's a reputation that's established and known by everybody, yet they still they manage to work for so long.
It's so bad.
So weird to me. That's interesting, man. So did you end up just kind of planting in Tampa and Orlando after that? Or like what was the, or you were just like, whatever, I'll take anything.
Whoever would take me, I'd go. I mean, the further away, the better.
Yeah.
I was definitely losing money until about 5 years ago. Everywhere
like any artist, any artist is going to have that, right? It's
self-investment. It's all about exposure. But at the same time, I was still like trying to get money to not completely be broke. So at least like gas was paid for, but definitely not like hotel rooms. Like I got a car specifically so I could sleep in it. The seats fold down 180 degrees and it's an SUV, so there's a lot of space. Yeah, there's like a whole community based around this car about like how to sleep in like Walmart parking lots and like boondocking and all that stuff. It's crazy.
Wow.
I was like, I want that for wrestling, so I got it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What's the farthest you ended up going?
Driving, the furthest I've been has been North Carolina.
Oh wow!
And I'm in Miami, so I'm at the very tip of the shaft.
Yeah.
And then we drove.
You out of everybody to say that. This man. No. Let me explain.
Well, yeah.
I will text this man just something slightly serious or whatever, like we're in the middle of texting, he will make a pun into anything. Anything into a pun is what I meant to say. But yeah, everything. And I'm just like, I'm like, sometimes I just know it and I'll text him beforehand. I'm like, don't. I'll just be like, don't, please. Please don't.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think North Carolina was definitely the furthest. And then I used to do Louisiana every now and then, New Orleans, and that was like a 12 to 13-hour drive.
It's so interesting to see like how even you guys in the photography side of things are also like territory in a sense, right? Like territories. You have that southeast and like up to like maybe almost mid-Atlantic level, you know. And then I see Basil covers like Midwest pretty well, and like Speedy will do like the lower Midwest and stuff. Like I mean, sorry, Miles will do the lower Midwest.
Yeah, Speedy does Southwest.
Yeah, Speedy does.
Or Southeast. Southeast.
I also do New Jersey and New York every now and then too.
Yeah, with WrestlePro
And
nice.
Glory. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Nice.
Yeah.
They got new ownership now, right? They Master P. Did he own it? Okay.
And then they were just starting to like gain traction when this whole COVID thing happened. So.
I saw that. Yeah, because I know Brian, who was like, I guess is Brian still calling it too? Brian Byers?
He's right? The main guy there. When I was there, I didn't see Master P, so I think he's just doing calling all the shots, and Master P is like,
gotcha. I know Brian was just like getting going. They got a lot of good stuff going on. They still have the school too, right? They just still have their school and everything. Like they got a lot to offer, man. But you're right. They lost momentum because they were like trying to get it right back right about the time this COVID hit. And they were like, "Oh shit."
Master wasn't it Master P that that bought out bought out House of Glory?
Yep, and the venue.
Vince McMahon coming for you. Vince McMahon, you're coming for you.
He bought out like Red Share or something. I forgot. Like somebody sold their share of it, and then they. But Brian still operates. Yeah, they were. But I have a feeling they're gonna come back, man. They have a lot. There's so much good talent in New York. It's just they never had anybody to properly concentrate them sometimes.
But now Myers has been doing Create a Pro up there, and that's been. I mean, we've seen Statlander, MJF, Bear Country. Who else has come out of there that we?
Dang it! Some of the roster guys are in there. Alex Reynolds, I think, is a
Reynolds is out of Creative Pro. Wasn't Silver also with him?
Yeah, Silver was there too.
I think so. And then Bowens is Wrestle Pro. I don't know what the school is. I don't know if it's something else.
Interesting. There's a lot though, man. I mean, that's really cool though. That's really, really cool. So then 12, 13, 14 years of doing this. And then now, as we mentioned, you are with AEW now, which is awesome. I mean, you're one of the biggest companies in the world, nationally syndicated company. And Global, yeah. And that's on TNT, you know, photos going everywhere. How does that come about? That's what I'm curious about.
Dude, just like, I keep saying it's pure luck. I tell that to my girlfriend and she doesn't believe it. I used to do a lot of what I call sacrificial drives, where it was just like I'd go to like a show where there was no guaranteed pay and like, you know, all that stuff. And a lot of the time it didn't amount to anything. Most of it was like the Evolve stuff. But I took a drive right after Thanksgiving up to North Carolina for WrestleCade. And they wanted somebody to just set up, do promos of like all the shows, like the rosters of all the shows that were going through there, just take pictures of everybody who's there. And I did that, and I sent everybody their photos, and as soon as like they got them, they started posting it. So like all of Instagram for that weekend, it was just all WrestleCade stuff. And that was November. So in January, they're already looking for people to work for AEW.
Wow.
And Randy was looking specifically for clean background and local to Florida. And there was two of us, and one of us was available, and that was me. So
interesting, huh?
Really lucked out on that. And
that leads me to say something. WrestleCade was kind of like your stage to be seen, right? And that's the thing. I think a lot of people, and Basil, we know people in the Midwest, photographers who are amazing, but don't take that opportunity to be like, hey, this is a stage that if I go there, there's a chance of being seen by so many eyes that can lead to the things. I'm just because I know Basil's story. Like I've seen you, Basil. I've seen you do it. You're like, hey, this is a spot I need to be at because it'll be seen. With Speedy, with WrestleCade, it's a spot that hey, this could lead to things. It's amazing to me how many people don't even make that effort. Like
that's what Lost in New York was for me. When I decided to hop on a plane, I think I flew to Jersey, then drove to New York because I had a buddy in Jersey and didn't get paid for that show, but it was. I mean, I was only 8 months into the business at that time.
But
I was just like,
you know,
I just really wanted to shoot it. I was like, man, I really want to shoot this show, and I was happy I did because I mean, freaking Wheatus has my picture hanging up in their studio.
That's awesome.
Like,
but that leads to what Speedy you were saying. It's like you just have to sacrifice. Like you make that sacrifice. You don't go for pay.
Wrestling photography is all. I mean, wrestling in general is all sacrifice.
Or art. Any art is a sacrifice. You know, there's no guarantee in an art because it's so subjective. It's so you think you can go in thinking I'm the best photographer, I'm the best musician, I'm the best wrestler. But you're trying to convince other people to think the same way. So like it's so subjective. So there's no guarantee in any of it. Which is why when you make a sacrifice, you tell them you bought a car just to sleep in it. You know, that's a sacrifice many people don't even make the effort to do. And that's really cool.
And there's like times where I wish Speedy and myself lived near each other because we're just like, are you going to be here? Like before COVID, we're like, are you going to be in this area at this time?
All right.
And we're like, cause like Speedy and I, like we trust each other and that's like a hard thing to do. Like to trust someone to take a job that you might've built up because all photography is they think you're as good as your last shot, as your last shot.
Yeah.
So it's just trying it. Like if we can't make a show, especially now, it's like, now that we're having TV commitments that always take priority, it's like we have to find someone to take that spot, and that's not an easy thing to do.
No.
So you got it right at the beginning, right at the beginning of AEW. Then, huh, Speedy? You were like right there from day one.
Day one, first rally, like the day after. I remember actually like sitting in my chair at work. I hated that job. And my boss was actually the promoter at the wrestling company that I started at, so he was super understanding. He was maybe 2 feet this direction. I turned around and I go, I'm not going to be here on Thursday. I didn't give him the chance to I didn't ask him. I'm like, I'm not going to be here on Thursday. And then I showed him the text and he's like, you're not going to be here on Thursday.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he totally understood. But yeah, from the very first rally, and then they flew me out to Vegas to do the second rally, and that's when I met most of the roster.
Nice.
That was the rally when we were in Tennessee, Trent. That was when we were in Tennessee for Homecoming in 2019.
January of 19. You guys were watching it, right?
And remember, there was me and Nate. We were watching that rally. Speedy was actually there taking the first set of promo photos for AEW.
Ah, no kidding.
Yeah.
That was it, huh? They watched the rally. Me and another guy were like, we're in Nashville. We want to go out somewhere, guys. No, it was Austin. It was Austin, Basil.
Was that Austin?
It was Austin.
I can't remember anymore.
We were in Austin because
Austin. It might have been Austin.
We're in Austin. They're like, we want to watch the rally. I'm like, we're in Austin. Can we go out? And they're like, we want to watch the rally. I'm like, right.
We'll go out after. We went out after.
No, you guys went to sleep after.
I love Austin.
It's such a great
Austin's
town,
so gorgeous.
God,
so gorgeous.
That's cool. So that's awesome, man. And then you've been there since, and you've seen everything happen and come and go since.
All sorts of people come and go. It's so weird, and it's just it's been alive for 2 years. It's weird.
And not even, right? You're not even 2 years.
Not officially, no.
Not officially, yeah. That's remarkable. Just to see the growth of it, to see how many people it's employed in wrestling. I mean, that's one big thing about wrestling, right there. I always say we always, the guys always encourage getting the boys jobs. More jobs, the better it is for the industry. Just seeing the amount, for me personally, I don't watch it actively because I'm more, my time is limited, so I watch more Impact and I do a podcast about that. But I mean, obviously I keep up more so now because of the integration of the companies. But when they did the tribute for Brody last week, and I saw everybody on the stage, and I was like, I was mind blown. I was like, my God, I couldn't believe how big the crew is. I was like, holy shit, in a year?
Just wrestlers.
Yeah. And I was like, that's gigantic. And I was like, that really got me because, like I said, I don't get to watch week to week. So for me to see that, I was like, holy shit, like that's incredible growth in a year. Everything else aside, like that's just right there is like, man, all those people have a job and a platform, not to mention all you guys in the back with the crew, you know, like everybody's working and wrestling here. And that's really, really awesome to me. I think it's like, man, that's pretty, it was mind blowing to me to see that display right there like that. So very cool, man. Very cool. Give me some thoughts. Like what's some of the highlights? Oh, actually, let me ask this. Was there apprehension going in? It was a new company altogether. You didn't really know much about it. It was just kind of like, hey, we're doing this new company. Was there any apprehension? Were you a little like, oh, these guys know what they're doing? I was just going to last. Like, was there any of that going into it?
Yes, but in the opposite way, where I didn't think I was the man for the job. And that happens a lot. Yeah, up to this day, like every now and then, I'm just like, what am I doing here? I don't belong here. Probably like on a weekly basis, I think that, but more so towards the beginning, like, oh, this is just for like one or two things, and then they'll probably grab some like Sports Illustrated guy or like one of the other guys who are far more talented than me. They'll probably grab him or her or whatever. But I never doubted that they didn't know what they were doing. They always seemed like they knew the direction they were heading, who they wanted to work with, what they wanted. They were always telling me like exactly what they wanted, but they've always given me like this freedom of how to what's the word? Dang it.
Be creative?
No, just like how to do what they want, basically. Like there's no like
free will almost in a sense.
Yeah, for sure. There's definitely some freedom in that.
Which is
but
cool.
They always knew like exactly like we need this for this, so it has to look something like this, but the rest is up to you.
They never let you know, like, hey, here's what we want. You can get us there however you want to get there.
Yeah.
Which is for any job. And forget artists, like any job. That's like the best feeling to have that non-micromanaged setup. You know, like, hey, cool, that's what we want. Just figure it out.
Yeah, totally not used to that. I worked for a college for 6 years. I worked in an IT office, but I was the photographer, videographer, graphic designer, and then some IT stuff. But everything was kind of just like so tight to where like creativity wasn't really a big thing. Like I had to, like at some point they were like, when you're not here, just make some templates so we can slap stuff on it. So it was kind of just like, do you really need me then? Am I just like a body?
Use the body, yeah, exactly.
So like I hated that job too because there was a lot of pressure and I wanted to be creative, but they didn't let me be creative. So and then when I finally got to this job, it's just like, are you sure? There's no like other guidelines you want? They're like, no, just do your thing.
Which is great.
Yeah, it's great.
Basil, you had a similar kind of feeling when you started getting into Impact and stuff, like on more like national platform stuff?
Yeah, it was. It took a little bit to hit because obviously I wasn't there as consistent as Speedy was with Impact. It was kind of like I was there and then I wasn't there for a couple months and then I was there for a few months in a row. It was like on and off all of 2019, and then obviously now with the COVID situation, which I want to touch on also with Speedy. I mean, I was working everywhere, and then so it didn't really matter too much to me. But then now I'm so consistent with Impact. I've been their photographer for the last almost 9 months straight, which during this whole Anthem era, there has never been that consistent of a photographer since Lee was there. And Lee left back in 2017 or 2018, I believe.
Lee's at AEW with you now, right?
Lee's the ringside photographer over there, and that man he's an Iron Man.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's a legend. Dude is amazing.
Yeah.
He's so good. Like I look through his shots all the time.
I used to love his concept photography he used to do. He used to do a lot of concept shoots at one time, especially with the women.
Oh yeah.
And I just loved it. He'd always have a cool, like every other month it'd be a new concept shot
Mhm.
or shoot. I'm like, this is very interesting because nobody was doing it at the
Right.
time, like 2010, 2011. Like nobody's doing that stuff.
Yeah.
Which I thought was pretty cool. So, do you ever do ringside too, or is that just all Lee?
So when he can't make it to the show, I'll do the Basil thing where I do promos and ringside.
Oh, okay.
It's only happened twice, and it was only just like 1 week. But it's not like a regular thing. It's just like I'm a backup type thing for him.
Do you prefer one over the other?
I do prefer to focus more on promos because there's less stress in doing promos and action. So like the
You don't say.
Yeah. So
Look at twirl it.
He's like, well,
sometimes I see him and he's just like chilling. I'm like, oh, I've been running around. I've done like 5 miles already, and you're just like,
that's awesome.
Yeah, but then he's out there for like 16 hours straight shooting.
Yeah.
Now
it goes a lot faster when you're ringside. When you're like in the back trying to hunt people down, it's super slow.
Oh,
Really?
I know that feeling. Like pay-per-view days for me, it's like I focus all on the promos and editing whatever, and then I try to get, and then I'm just ringside for the rest of for the next 3 hours or whatever. But now with COVID time, so something that AEW was always live every week. There was very rare time where AEW was taped, and it was a pretty standard, straightforward. It's like, okay, if you didn't get the guy this week, just get him next week, whatever type thing. But now you guys are doing almost an every other week situation. Sometimes you'll go 3 weeks live, but here and there, more frequently, you guys are doing 1 week live, 1 week taped. Where you guys taped the following Thursday, I believe, or Friday.
Yeah. So
depending if there's like football or not.
Right. So we'll do exactly that. So we'll do live on Wednesday, and then we'll do dark before Dynamite and after Dynamite, and then Thursday we'll tape it for the next week, and then dark again for the week that follows.
Oh, so it's a next day thing. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then depending on the NFL is when all that stuff. But NFL, so at least for us anyway. So
Yeah.
we don't have to worry about that anymore.
We appreciate the win last week, but it was a win for you guys as well. So
Cool, man.
Oh,
It was a win for you guys as well. It was a better draft pick that you guys will get now. But with how is like the COVID situation, like you feel safe going? Do you feel safe going to shows?
Yeah, I feel safer at the shows than I do in most places I walk around. Like,
Which is interesting. Which is a real statement of our society today.
Our society.
I was thinking the other day, I'm like, man, like Walmart or AEW, like I feel much more safer there. I feel safer at AEW than drive-through.
Ooh.
Jeez. Think about that.
Yeah.
It says something. But which is good. I'm glad you do, because that's all we have right now. I mean, all we can do is go off that trust that we have right now. So I'm glad that they've created a safe environment for you guys, for everybody down there. That huge crew, that giant crew that I saw, is everybody feels that way. So
it's difficult to like try to make sure everybody's safe, but they do it. The docs there are like all day testing people,
which is great.
Yeah, there's like 2 points of testing that you do every day. So like, yeah, dude, it's like just like they're doing an incredible job making sure everybody's safe. I'm super happy that they're doing all that stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What? Let me ask you this. Now it's been about a year and a few months since the company's been active. Pandemic aside from everything that's thrown everybody off, but do you have a favorite moment, a personal, like just AEW moment, and do you have a favorite for a photo that is your crown jewel picture that you're like, man, that's the one going on the wall, that's the one that's going to be in the nice frame. I'm gonna hang my hat on that one.
I haven't done that. So I have a wall that I've dedicated to. I only have one thing hung up, but I have a bunch of stuff that I want to put up on there. Sounds
like Basil. I literally all day.
That's
can you
the
start
only,
framing your stuff?
That's literally the only thing that has been printed of any of my work, like that I have printed personally. Other people have printed off my stuff, whatever. This is the only thing that I have gone out of my way to print, and that was because that was on the cover of PWI. That's the North photo.
Okay.
So it's funny that there's an AEW hat in front of it too. I have so much merch from every company because I mean the first payment that you get for any company is a T-shirt most of the time.
Usually it's a hot dog and a handshake, then a T-shirt. Second show.
Yeah, second show they're like, oh, we like you. Here's a shirt, brother.
So funny thing about a hot dog.
That's a great thing. Yeah, I just single that line out. Funny thing about a hot dog.
Wear a T-shirt, man. So like I actually had I worked at a company somewhere in the middle of Florida where the payment was like a buffet of food. They're like, oh, we can't pay you, but here's all the food. And like I'm already there, so whatever. And I go there, and there was nothing left but buns. Not even the hot dog. I was like,
of course, fucking wrestlers. The fucking wrestlers not even eating the bread, like carbs. Forget it.
The promoter left, so you can get like a handshake.
Hey, now that he's worked with Brian, have you been around Brian when he's gone to catering?
Brian
Cage.
Oh yeah. Well, he's around, but I don't like look at what everybody does.
Oh no, but have you ever been like, you know how? Well, I don't know how it is now with your guys' catering, but like we used to have like that buffet style, whatever. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I don't think he wasn't really around. He came in pretty much COVID time. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, but man, double everything. He would just be like, "Oh, I need 3 things of meat." Like I remember one time we had like burrito bowls that we got. It was like it was one of the themes for catering for us at Impact, and I literally just got a regular size portion. He goes, "Basil, you're taking part of my steak here." And I was like, "You have 3 portions. Like, what do you need? Like, Christ. Let me eat some food, please. I don't want to just eat rice."
I'm full of all I've had with soup.
Have some more.
Even I seen it at Warrior Wrestling in Chicago. He was doing the same thing, and then squirreling a bunch of food away for later. And I was like,
He's a squirrel.
He's a squirrel. A giant squirrel.
He wrestles with the food in his cheeks.
I wouldn't be surprised. And then in just mid match, he has a snack. I've seen the man literally pull out a thing of Tupperware. He takes a fork out of his backpack, sticks it into the Tupperware, pulls out a full-on steak, and just starts eating it right then and there, like right off the airplane.
All protein, no carbs.
Dude, the man is a beast. So
that's awesome. So wait, so no, you don't have your crown jewel photo just yet, or do you have it? Do you have one in mind?
I don't have it, but my favorite photo. I'm sure I have like a million favorite photos. But the one that I did first was actually at the Vegas rally, and it was so my Instagram. If you go to my Instagram, all my photos are like super dark and moody. And I was like, if I ever get a chance to work with Jericho, this is one of the I have to do
yes
with Jericho. Like I can't not do it. So like I had him like he had like a spike jacket and a hat, and I just had just like lit from behind, so it's only like light on the edges of him. A lot of like fan art people use it, but it's definitely like up there on some of my favorite photos. He actually, so fun story about that shoot. So I always have a list of people I have to take promos of, and this was right. He's fresh off of the E, and then New Japan, and then us, right?
Yeah.
And right before he left the E, he had this whole like, "Oh, you're going on my list" gimmick. So he comes into the room and he's like, "Hey, brother, I heard I was on your list." I'm like,
"Oh, wow.
Do you know how many fans would poop themselves for that?" Hey, brother, I'm on your list.
Jericho was on your list. I mean, that's
right?
And he acknowledged the list.
That's pretty cool. So, that is super cool, actually.
Yeah. There's a good story behind that photo that adds to it. So I guess that's a pretty heavy photo. I'll probably put that up eventually. But
Nice. That's very cool. Yeah, I imagine like you guys. I mean, you have your personal favorites, but it's almost like you share them with the world because they go out and they're out in the world, and you're essentially share. Let me ask you a question. This is one thing that Basil and I talked about a lot early on when he was getting started. Photo credit. It not. I've heard this is a touchy area for you guys. Is the photo credit? People, because you guys' photos get used and abused by everybody, right? People print them on their own, they'll repost them, not credit you. Is that a big issue and something that you kind of take personally? Does it bother you when you don't get the photo credit and it just kind of goes, or they crop your watermark, things like that? Like how much of an issue is that? Have you seen it, and what's a way to get around it that you've had to do? And especially, but more so even on the indies, I'm sure that was happening a lot. How do you get around that? How do you kind of fight that?
So it's inevitable. It happens.
Yeah.
You guys just don't remember who you are. It happens. Some guys just don't care. It happens. I've been in it so long where it's kind of like the fight was kind of very strong at the beginning, and then I saw I was going nowhere. So I just gave up on it. AEW is really good. And like everybody in AEW is really good at tagging me. And I share everybody anytime. It doesn't do anything to them, but anytime
Sure.
they tag me in something, I share it on my stories or whatever. So it's kind of just like an acknowledgement that, like, we're working together and all that stuff.
Teamwork, yeah.
Yeah. So in the indies, the only thing that I'm strongly against is anybody who's not the wrestler who paid me, or anybody who's not the promoter that paid me for the photos. If they try to sell things, then I have a big problem with that, because they contribute to my service and they're trying to bank off of it. And a lot of times they'll bank off of it and not give any to the promoter or the wrestler, or give them any acknowledgement either. So I have a big problem with that.
Yeah.
We've seen that happen recently. One of our buddies, his photo was used, and it was like in a montage form. That was Scott's photo.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and I'm surprised he was able to catch that, because he like zoomed in, and it was just like this tiny little part of a photo that was on a mask, and I was like, damn.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know your work. You're the one who sees that photo 3, 4, 5, maybe more times over the course of its lifetime or whatever. So I mean, what you've shot. It is a hard balance. Indies is just it's a wild gun. That's like more of a gaining, like if you can gain indies respect with that type of stuff, which I feel like Speedy you have done for sure. That's like the biggest hurdle, because most big companies, and we're even seeing it from WWE wrestlers specifically, like you see Rollins, Mustafa Ali, Randy Orton, they're all actually really good at tagging, like Timsy and stuff like that. It's the ones that they know that we see them tag. I mean, even Giancarlo gets some shout outs too now, and he's the video guy, and you never saw a video guy get credit for.
Right. No.
It's a new thing, because for a long time nobody gave you guys photo. I mean, magazines with publications would always say photo by, but I mean, people like the wrestler, the subject and themselves would never shout out photographers or videographers. And this is in the last, I'd say maybe 5 years, I started seeing it more, because it was not a common practice. And it was like, it's almost like you guys were taken for granted for a long time. I was like, oh, cool, just photographer. I got my photos. Again, the publication, like I said, would always say, photos courtesy of Speedy or Basil, whatever. But I'm so happy to see, because I'm such a big proponent. People should get credit for their work, and it's like I'm so glad to see you guys get tagged and get those shout outs. And Fight TV put up a thing the other day. Who are your favorite wrestling photographers? I saw Speedy, you were in there, a bunch of people tagged you. Basil tagged you.
Yeah. Basil told me about it. Yeah.
And it's like that question would never have been asked, more than 5 years ago. Like, who was even talking about it?
It's just so weird to be tagged by like people you don't know.
You don't even know, right?
Like, and then we got to remember that, like, hey, our photos are cover of PWI, in PWI. Yours is on AEW, everywhere. Like, we have wrestlers profile pictures. Like, the first thing you see when you see that wrestler is a product of whatever we shot. And it's still like, it's hard to process that. I feel like, I don't know if you've gotten more used to it, but like me and you kind of both started mainstream wrestling. Like, we both got picked out of the indies right at the same time. And it's still like hard for me to process that.
Yeah, no, me too. Like when I don't know, I think like Jericho tagged me in something like a few months ago. I'm like, what? Oh, he knows who I am. What the fuck? Sorry, I don't know if cursing is okay, but
no, dude, yeah, dude,
yeah, I swear,
bro, it's Chris Jericho. Like
right, yeah.
Chris was always cool to me. Like I'll say this, like Chris does not have like you can walk up to Chris and you can walk up to Chris Jericho and talk to him. Like I went up to him, I talked to him, I showed him one of the photos I shot from because I was there like on a 3-week loop, and he goes, "Yeah, dude, send that to me," and then he ended up posting it. Like it was just.
You're like, sent to you on your personal cell phone number? What?
Stop.
Oh my God, Chris Jericho, I love you.
Oh my God.
What'd you say? Huh?
Ridiculous. But hey, if any of you guys have questions for Speedy, let us know what you guys want us to ask, because we still got about 15 minutes left.
Yeah, throw them in.
Here.
I see some people are coming in as well. There's some casual listeners, so if you guys are just in here listening, throw some questions out. But
what's wrong, Speedy?
What's going on, Speedy? So what happened? Something.
I'm just getting a charger.
Oh, you forgot to plug in your laptop?
Yeah.
Yeah, StreamYard will eat up the battery.
I worked in the IT office for 6 years, guys.
You should know.
Did you restart it? Did you turn it off and on?
Did you restart your computer?
Did you restart your computer to see if the battery would work?
That is a joke to the rest of the world. It is the thing you ask a million times in IT.
It's so true.
I asked that. I work in cell phones, and I still ask that question. I'm like, "Did you restart your phone?" They're like, "Well, no." I was like, "Okay, hold on." And then 3 minutes later, they get their phone back.
Yeah. They're like, "Oh yeah, it's working now."
What was the issue? I don't know.
I was on help desk for years, and that would solve 80% of the issues. It's like, why don't you restart it? If it's still happening, give me a call back. Rarely was that call back happen. Good old restart, man. Never hurts. Never hurts. That's awesome. So no, that's cool. That's really awesome, Speedy. I love hearing the growth and just how your approach is to you, and you're very humble about everything as well.
Compadre Chris is an asshole.
What did he say?
What makes you better than Basil? He's not me, so that makes him 10 times better of a person right off the bat.
And here we go. Look at that question.
That makes him 10 times better than me, and the fact that he's been shooting like longer than I've ever owned a camera in general. He's been shooting wrestling longer than I've owned a camera. So I mean,
oh my God.
He's saying the beard for sure.
Yeah, but I'm older than you. The thing is, like, that's the
beard though.
But like, that's the thing
mustache
that throws people off is the baby face, and I'm older than most people. But like, because I've been in this business for such a short amount of time, like I still have that very much kid vibe to me, because I'm still not completely plagued. I'm a little bit. I've become more of an asshole this last year, but
pandemic will do that.
It's a roller coaster. You'll it's baby out, then you'll become really disgruntled, and then it'll come back down. You're like, yeah,
whatever. Do I have a paycheck coming in? Okay, that's cool.
So, Speedy, is this full time now for you? Are you full time with AEW? Like, this is the job? No more IT, no more of that shitty job you hated. This is it, huh?
Full time AEW.
That's the dream.
It's still bizarre to me. I wake up and I'm like, oh, I gotta fight traffic. Oh no, I don't.
I don't.
Now, really quick, how has your work style or your workload, or however your process was between year 1 and year 2, especially because year 2 now has been mainly COVID, and how has that changed how you get wrestlers to take photos, or how like your deadlines are now, because now you're not taping every week, you're taping every other week, so you obviously might get a little bit of extensions, but there are those wrestlers, because you and I both know from personal experience that we have to pick and choose photos from other places, or I've helped out, or I've needed a photo from you, or something like that, where we've used it at Impact. I mean, that's your Omega photo. And then that's my Don Callis photo on the AEW side. So I mean, it's a lot of
which is funny. It's like even more union, right? It's like
I mean, honestly, I'm
awesome.
happy. I'm happy because I mean, when Speedy and I were together at AEW, it was very. Or do you want to talk about the hotel rooms?
Oh,
Ooh.
This is a
Got
sensitive
real
podcast.
but when Speedy and I worked together at AEW, it was a lot of fun. Like, I love the environment over there. We actually worked really well, like especially when we got to do like the roaming parts, like when he was done with promo pictures, or me running in the middle of his promo pictures because I felt like it. And but yeah, I mean, how has that changed for you, or what is the biggest change you've gone through, and what are the pros and cons that you have experienced with it?
So because of COVID, there's a lot more consumers online now. So there's more demand for online content. So my work has actually ramped up a lot. I'd say about like maybe 75% more work than pre-COVID. It's more like every 3 weeks I take pictures of somebody I took pictures of like a month ago or something, like there's a constant refresh thing because there's so many eyeballs online. They want to see fresh stuff. They don't want to see the same stuff all over again. And there's like constantly like new people coming in to just keep things fresh. All the locals, I have to take full set photos of all the locals, so that's all fresh. And then that stuff gets on socials and everything. There's also, sorry. There's also,
It's the bomb.
yeah.
It's the Cody line. It's like, stop talking about our business.
Oh shit.
Leatherface is coming through with the chainsaw.
Man, I was gonna say. So they also they amped up my editing too. They wanted more stuff edited. Earlier in the time, like last year, I didn't have that much editing to do, and now it's kind of just like everybody has to look presentable. Like it has to be like magazine ready, basically, out of every shoot. So every week, I'm sitting here, I'm editing until the very next week. So there's less downtime for me, and more like putting out content. So action shots need to be out the night of, and then promos need to be done before retouching the next night. So, like that's just like fast paced, which I wasn't used to. I was used to like waiting like a week to do indie stuff. Just like
that's how I used to be when I first started. I'd be like, because I worked with him at AAW when I was over there, and I'd be like, yeah, I'll get you guys photos in like 2 weeks, whatever. I was like when I first started, and then it started to become like, yeah, I'll get it within the week, and then 3 days, and then it was next day sometimes if I was able to.
I need those tonight. I need that title change picture like yesterday.
But I would, yeah. And then I learned how to get certain photos out like ASAP, like 20 minutes afterwards.
Yeah.
And then I feel like doing that stuff on purpose, like little stuff like that's the pushing part that people don't do, that I see very few people actually try to do. It actually helps them. I'm like, do it to a degree. You don't have to do that with every single show because then you'll fucking drive yourself insane.
Right.
But like the important ones, get those out ASAP because those are the ones that are going to get you the most exposure. And then doing shows the night of, like at Bound for Glory, Trent saw me, like he was helping with Ring Crew, because he came down with me that week, and then he sees me there just sitting, just editing away at the photos, like just trying to get them done. I think I got them done at like 3 a.m. after, because I had to shoot the next day, and then I had to get that Tuesday's TV. We're shooting Tuesday's TV Sunday. And I have to get those done that night because I'm shooting again on Monday.
Yeah.
So, and it's like Monday's the only day I give myself a break finally, because I'm essentially working 72 hours straight between being at a show and editing. And it's like, that's when I finally get to kick back. So
I'm sure you guys have both seen the benefit of it. If you get that extra effort in there, that stuff gets out. And I mean, so certain photos just take off, right? And they'll be it. Like you'll be like, what the fuck just happened?
there was those few weeks that we were when we were in the same town, and we get back to the hotel room, and it's literally let's open up our laptops.
Yeah,
and it was just like, let's get to work.
It was kind of cool. It was like a slumber party for editing.
It was, and then it was a very non-sobering slumber party. That we partaked in. It was either food and beverages. We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
People get their promos back. They go, what's my face green?
Why is my photo tilted to 73 degrees to the left? What is this?
It's a new
What the hell
style.
happened here?
Let's do with it. It's a new style.
45-degree angle. Just tilt your head like Kane.
That's awesome.
Just eat a taco while you're looking at it.
Photoshop a taco into it.
Here's your hot dog and a handshake.
That's awesome. No, Speedy, that's really cool, man. I love hearing the story and just how it's become your life now. I mean, this is your full-time job. That's really, really cool because despite all the wrestlers who want to make it full-time in wrestling, there's crew who wants to as well, like photographers, videographers, directors, producers. It's a dream, to not, like you said, to not have to get up and fight traffic, to not have to worry about certain the reports being done and this printed and checking off these boxes. Like, you get to be creative as artists. We are all artists, and we all have if you have that gene, there's a part of you that just you cannot be stifled. Like that job you mentioned, that would stifle your creativity. Mm-hmm. Having a job that encourages it, I can only imagine how much happier you are than day to day, right?
Oh yeah, I don't talk about it too much, but when I was at that college job, I was physically manifesting stress in my body where I had to go to urgent care a few times, and they're like, "Yeah, you're just stressing the hell out. Like, stop stressing out." I'm like, I can't. Like, it's just like what's going on. And then like a little bit into being full time with AEW, like even my girlfriend has noticed that like I'm a lot more relaxed and a lot more chill, a lot more patient, because just like I don't have to deal with like 1,000,000 pounds of stress that's like taking a toll on me physically, which I never thought was possible until like the urgent care guy was like, yeah, that happens all the time. Like, people get ulcers from stress.
Stress is the worst. I've come to learn through any research I've done. Stress is what leads to like everything. Like that leads to cancers and this and that. Like stress is the worst thing you can take on. So if you're at a job that makes you feel like that every day, it's like it's not worth it. It's just not worth your life. Like it's just not. So I'm so glad. I'm so happy for you that you have lost that stress and you're happy.
And just in general, like it makes me very happy to see how much work you get to do, what you get to do creatively. Like, as someone who's gotten to know you really well these last 2 years, like it makes me so happy to see your success, and like I can't wait for you to be like Lee South, Rich, like all those legends, like I no, honest to God, like, and this is not no, shut up. I'm gonna stroke your fucking ego, and you're gonna like it. All right.
This is the close speed. Like, so before we get to your plug, so it's the over moment.
No, but for real, honest to God, I remember when the Bucks came to AAW, and that's when I got to meet Jeff Jones, and the Bucks, and we did the thing with the Penta with the Lucha Brothers, the setting up the Lucha Brothers versus Young Bucks match. And I was like, oh, you guys got Speedy. That's so, like, I remember just being so happy for you. And I didn't even know you yet because we've only communicated online. I'm like, that's such an awesome pickup. That's great. And it's just, like you said, it's those random luck moments. If or AEW has a video guy, and he couldn't make it that day. He had like a wedding or whatever, so I had to record the video, and that's what set up for the All Out last year. So it's just it's all little. It's just
Isn't that crazy?
Right place, right time with everything. And I was literally shooting photos of the match, and then I had to switch into video mode.
I remember that because Rob wasn't there. That's
right. I believe Rob had a wedding. He had a wedding that day.
I forgot about that because he switched. Yeah, and it was crazy because.
Because I knew when it was happening, but it's the cue happened like for the Bucks to come out came like 15 seconds too early, and because I had everything timed of what I was gonna do, and they're like, "Oh, lights are gonna go out. You're gonna have like 30 seconds." I was like, "Dope." Like 5 seconds later, the lights came back on, and I was like, "Oh shit!"
It was so. I was at the podium. I don't know if have you been to Logan Square Auditorium in Chicago? Have you been to that? No. There's like this control booth that's like parallel to the ring. It's elevated. It looks right at the ring. And I'm usually in that for AEW, and then Basil's, ringside, and he's like, "Give me a sign, let me know when it's happening." So I was like, what do I do? So I contemplate even like waving a few dollars in the air. That's the sign.
He had some 2019 dollar bills.
What do I tell him? You're like, what's the sign? They're coming. Like, what do I tell him?
Young Bucks.
So like we do the lights, and then it was so on edge, right? Because like you cannot like lights don't come back on. You're fucked. Like something happens. You blow a fuse. Whatever happens. So like the guy doing the lights was so nervous. Or something. I don't know what happened. They just flipped it so quick.
Yeah. But that's where I got Jeff Jones's contact information, and then it's like right from there. I mean, that's just wrestling is right place, right time.
Yeah, super. Like networking is such a huge thing.
It's the biggest thing is networking.
You gotta be coll. Like you gotta be able to talk to people. Like that's the idea. Like
this is something that I learned from Gary Vee. You sell yourself before you sell your product. If you sold whoever you're trying to sell to yourself, they will be interested in whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
And as long as you're good at what you're doing, they follow up.
Yeah.
So obviously you have to have the talent.
I learned a lot from Gary Vee. One of the biggest things I use, especially towards my marketing, is he wrote a book called Jab, 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 Right Hook.
Yes.
Give, and then ask.
Yes.
I do that all the time, and it works.
Yep.
So well.
It's even changed internal workings at Impact of how we do things. It's like, okay, I'll give them all this for this time, and then I ask for, it's like you ask for that favor to improve not only your product but them at the same time, and they realize that, and it just works.
Yep.
So like something simple, really quick. Impact used to have somebody in-house add watermarks to the photos. I was like, I can just do that. Like, because I was hearing from guys in production, like, yeah, I would have to spend all this time. I was like, I can do that in literally like 6 seconds. I do one clean, and then I multiple preset, and here's one with a watermark. And then I just decided to upload it randomly without even asking if I can do it. I just did it. And then Josh Matthews like, you uploaded with watermarks? I was like, yeah, I felt like it. And he goes, oh, okay. Can you keep doing that? I was like, yeah, sure. Why not?
You just got somebody fired, man.
I did not get someone. Actually, I didn't. It was 8. Kevin was doing that, Trent.
Oh, Kevin was doing it?
Kevin, not Sullivan.
That's Sullivan.
No, Kevin.
No, Martin.
Oh, okay, not Kevin.
No. Kevin Martin was doing it, and he would have to do it like Mondays before the show or whatever. So I was like, I can just do that easily. And now I put my own spin on it and how to do it, like because I try to differentiate TV from our pay-per-view or specials and stuff like that. I try to put it in a different spot. Just you know what I mean? It's not much, but it's something.
Right.
So,
but that something goes a long way.
It does, and that's
that creative freedom that Speedy talked about. Like you have, they're not telling you. You're like, hey, let me try it, and if they like it, they'll go. And it's like, yeah, awesome.
I did something like that for the. I hate calling them extras, because they're not really there to do production extra work. They
jobber talent. Just say it.
I also
Scrubs.
No, but they're locals. They're extras. They're enhancement talent.
Yeah.
It's either enhancement or I call them the unsigned because I think it just sounds cooler.
It does
the unsigned.
I like that.
Unsigned.
Hey, come to Impact. Everybody's unsigned.
I'm gonna see who I can find, but I just did this just cause, and they're like, yeah, that's really cool. I really like it. So I put a step and repeat logo of the AEW logo and my logo whenever I take pictures of the
yeah, I saw that you started doing that, and then I was just like, oh, like I think I remember asking you about that.
And I'll never tell anybody the process. So
oh, I know the process. I'm not stupid. I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna tell you what. I'm not gonna say what the. It's not hard.
It's not hard, but once you discover, it's like.
Yeah. It's not hard. It's a good way to do proofs without making them look ugly as hell.
Yeah. So this is an example.
Oh, that's cool, man.
Lady Frost, I love her so much.
Yeah, I love working with her. She's great.
Very nice.
You need to get Savage. You need to get Gentleman up there.
For real, he looks really good.
Dude, he got so jacked over quarantine.
I'm jealous.
I've never seen someone not wrestle and then get extremely jacked.
Oh, who did that? Who did that? And I forgot who it was now. Dang it. But they look whatever. So yeah, just like the thing that you were doing. Hold on, where's my bubble? Just the thing that you were doing, Basil, with the watermark or whatever. I just started doing that, and they're like, "Yeah, we like it. Let's keep doing that."
Yeah. No, yeah, that's what, like, that was a thing. It was like, well, we want to get our photos out there, but they wanted them to know that it was AEW, or not AEW, Impact photos. So it's like, okay, let's work. Like, we started with this one thing. I was like, I don't like this. Like, this is horrible. Like, I'm like, the thing is, I feel like you are too, is you can actually say yes or no, this looks good, and have input. And it's great to have that. And then we worked on something that works. And as long as the logo's in it and nobody's cutting it out, and as long as you know how to do it to position it so you can't cut it off, and if you cut it off, you look like a jackass.
Yeah.
Especially at that level.
I position it so that it's like an enhancement to the photo.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Everybody wants the AEW logo on there anyway because it shows that they were there.
Yeah.
So I give them like the options of different crops so they can choose which one they want, and they don't have to crop the logo out of it. So either way they want to use it, they've got the AEW logo on there.
Yeah, and another thing, this is just free advice for everybody. 8x10. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Just if you do an 8x10, nothing will get cropped.
Yeah.
If you crop a photo, obviously full bodies can't always be 8x10s.
Right.
It's just sometimes, especially with bigger guys. If I'm dealing with Fulton, or you're dealing with Archer, you're not going to get an 8x10 on a full body unless you're standing really far back. But if you make it easier for the wrestlers to not crop your photo, when they just press that little the little arrow button, they won't do it because it's already done. They don't want to do more work.
Exactly. Yeah. And 8x10 fits perfectly in the vertical option for Instagram.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Is when you click the arrows on Instagram,
that's what you meant. Okay.
Yeah. When they post it, it'll just be good, and nothing has to get cropped when they're making 8x10 stuff for autographs. Yeah, prints for autographs.
Nice. Yeah. Can I just say, Speedy, your photo of Sting was probably my personal favorite, just being a big stinger, little stinger that I am.
I forgot the one I posted.
He's a little stinger.
I told Sting this as a grown man that I'm a little stinger, and he looked at me like I was an asshole. I was 28 years old, and I was all nervous to meet him. It's the guy I grew my hair out because of. I went as him for Halloween 5 years in a row. I'm in line. Bound for Glory 08 Fan Fest. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is it. And I'm like, hey man, I've been a little stinger for 20 years. And he looks at me, he's like,
they got pills for that, son.
Yeah, he looks at me and he shakes my hand back. He's like, that's great, man. And I'm like, fuck. He's like, do you want to take a picture? I'm like, nah, I'm okay. just scuttled away. So I'm gonna look to you to help me redo that moment. At some point, I'm gonna call upon a favor from Speedy. Like, Speedy, I need you to facilitate me just hanging around you at Sting's next photo shoot, so I can make up for that moment, or fucking shoot myself in the foot once again. Either way, I gotta try it again.
Hey, Sting, remember the guy that said a little stinger? Oh, I hate that guy.
He's like, what a fucking mark. There he is. Oh, fuck. I'm just gonna leave, man.
Move to another country.
I'm done. I'm out.
And when you got up, I was explaining to Trent how cool Chris Jericho actually is.
Oh yeah.
He doesn't ego check anybody.
Mm-mm. No, he's very I wouldn't say work oriented, but he's very driven to make the company look as best as possible. And as long as you're in that same interest, then he'll work with you whatever you want. With the wrestlers too, I'll see him talking with the wrestlers, and he's just really excited about wrestling with them because they're really excited about wrestling there too. But they everybody there wants what's best to move the company forward. And if you're just not like that type of person, if you've got this gigantic ego where you just want to shine bigger than the company, then pretty much everybody there kind of just be a little abrasive with you. But definitely if you hang around him for 5 minutes, you can tell the type of person that he is, and the love that he's got for this company and what he wants from it and all that stuff. But yeah, super cool dude. Which
is what has carried him for 30 years. You know,
yeah.
he's always out to better, no matter where it is. He's always out to. I mean, even down to look at this. Even he's never wrestled for Impact, but he was even goal oriented to assist bettering Impact. Like he facilitated Don and Scott. He got them hired there and everything. It's like the guy is so just genuinely.
He was on Talking Shop Mania too.
Like things like that. Like, you didn't have to go there. Like he's Chris Jericho. Like he's so genuine about the growth of the business.
Yep.
It's infectious, I'm sure, backstage to you guys.
Especially for someone who's been in the E system for so long. It's just like, you know what? It's finally nice just to be able to work with whoever I want, still better myself and better the main company I'm with. But it's like, it's nice to just have a little bit of that freedom, which we've all been kind of, I mean, right now we're not experiencing it too much, unless your name is Omega right now. But it's been overall, it was good. Yeah,
that's super cool. Super cool. Speedy, I'm sorry, you were gonna say one more thing.
I totally forgot what it was.
Okay. Well, let's listen. We're at about our time. I don't want to keep it too much longer. I know you are a little bit ahead of us in time too. So we definitely love. I love this. I love hearing. I love everything you had to say today. It was great to hear how you got there, and it more so inspires me to hear it. And if I hope anybody listening to this also hears that, it's like you can be lucky, but you also do want to put in the work. But
you have to put in the work to get lucky.
Absolutely,
you're not just sitting there and then all of a sudden Vince calls.
Right?
You have to be under everybody's noses.
You have to make the effort, but know that the opportunities are there. They're there for the take. You just have to make sure you're there to get them.
Absolutely.
This is living proof, right here is somebody who, like you said, I never would have thought, but it happened. Like it's there. It's a reality, and it can be reality for anybody. Whether it's wrestling or music, whatever the hell it is. Anything.
Yeah.
I love
hearing guys.
Yeah. I love hearing your story about that. So that's really cool. I'm so happy for you.
Thanks.
Let's get some plugs in. Plug anything you want, like Twitter, website, where can people buy merch, whatever you like. Do you have anywhere people can go and connect?
Got a plug here, and
he's gonna plug the plug. Okay, this
plug the plug, brother.
Over here. Stick with the photography. Leave the comedy
to us. So right now, the biggest thing I'm pushing is my Instagram, which is down here. So that little thing there. That's my Instagram. I also have a website, but I don't really push it that much. It's just speedy.photo. I looked out on the domain, so if you just go,
you have a .photo domain?
Damn!
Yeah.
Holy shit! Right? We gotta look into that.
That works because your name is Speedy Photos.
Speedy.photo. Great. And then my Twitter, I'm never on, but it's Speedy_photo. I think that's it. I don't really promote my Facebook anymore. I've abandoned that like a million years ago. So if anybody wants to reach out, anybody's got questions, if you want to just follow me, just my DMs are always open to anybody who's willing to learn and all that stuff. Willing to learn. My girlfriend's just like, DMs?
Your DMs are open. Are there girls listening to this podcast?
Learning.
Reminder: this is pro wrestling, and there's maybe one girl listening to this.
If you're a female, you have to go through my girlfriend first, and then
you have to DM her first.
There's the process.
Any merch or anything? Do you sell prints? You want to put that out there at all?
I don't sell prints. I always let the wrestlers sell their own prints. I never try to take money away from the wrestlers. So if you want prints that I've done, go directly to the wrestlers, ask them.
Thank you.
And they'll give you the
because I'm sure your Instagram DMs are flooded with, how come I can't get this print? When can you post this picture? When can you do this? It's like, that's not my job.
Right.
Go to the wrestlers, support them.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Right.
That's what I tell you. Just go to the wrestlers. They'll have all support them. I'm getting money from promoters and wrestlers and all that stuff anyway. So my job is already done. Go to the wrestlers, support them.
Perfect. Well, there you go, guys. Definitely give Speedy a follow. Speedy.photo on Instagram is his main account that he's pushing, and then also the website, Speedy.photo as well, and then Twitter, Speedy_photo for anybody who missed that earlier. Links will all be in the description too if you guys missed that. So check that out. We'll put that in there and definitely connect. Speedy, thank you again, man. It was such a
absolutely. Thank
you. The pleasure was all mine. Honest to God on this one. It was It was great to connect with you again. It's great to chat and all that stuff. You've been a friend. I would almost say it was a mentor as well for me, helping me out and stuff like that. So I very am appreciative of you. So thank you for being on this.
Awesome.
I appreciate you guys too. Absolutely.
No, anytime. Listen, come hang out anytime.
I haven't met you yet, but Basil, I miss you, buddy.
I miss you, buddy. I can't, dude. I need to get down to Florida, and we need to. I just need to just show up and be like, Jeff, yo, I need to work today. Cool.
Just come down.
Well, definitely,
I'll text him.
I'll join you on that trip, Basil. Like, meet you.
There you go.
That'll be nice. And I'll get that coffee. Damn
Can we use our TSA pre-checks that we filed for in March of last year?
Yes, which I never get to use.
Paying for that.
Yeah, I got mine approved. The day I went to pick it up and get the final stamp the day they shut everything down.
Yeah, we both got it because we both we were gonna go up to Canada because
The lockdown.
TNA Impact was gonna do lockdown in Canada, and I usually don't work Canada, but I messaged and I was like, I need to work this show. Like it's lockdown. Please let me work this show. They're like, yeah, dude, just get your passport ready. I was like, done.
Well, let's get our plugs in here. Speedy, hang out while we do our close. We'll go off the air, then we'll say proper goodbye to you. But let's get our plugs there. Basil, where can people follow you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at BZ. That's a B, 2 E's, 4 Z's, and a Y. You can find all my photos at basilmahmood.com. Also, impactwrestling.com. Every week, Wednesdays, the photos get uploaded from Impact on Access TV. And then the following Monday will be for pay-per-views and special events such as Hard to Kill and Genesis coming up this week.
Yes, very nice. Guys, you can get me over at Transberry over on Twitter. And Total Nonstop Impact Podcast, which I do. That's speaking of Impact Wrestling. That's the #1 Impact Wrestling podcast on the planet at We Talk Impact on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and live every Tuesday post shows as well. The show right here, Backstage Boys, you can get at the BSB Show at Twitter and Facebook, and the BSB Show Pod on Instagram. Get that over there. The show is also available on all audio platforms: Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, Spotify, Amazon, Pandora, you name it, we're on it. So rate, review, subscribe, everybody. Please go over to iTunes and stuff, send a rating in, leave that for us as well. ProWrestlingTees.com/Backstage Boys is the official t-shirt store of the Backstage Boys. 20% off now through the 9th. So get the new shirt. If you're watching a video, the comic book print, which is in the corner of the screen right here, is now on a t-shirt. Pick that up at 20% off, guys.
Juan of the Dead killed it.
The Out of the Dead absolutely killed. Thank you to Juan of the Dead for that. And twitch.tv/the BSB Show is our official Twitch channel. Please follow, subscribe, guys. We are leveling up. We just started going live on Twitch, so we're leveling up there, and YouTube as well. YouTube, Backstage Boys podcast on YouTube as well. So get us there, guys. I think that's everything. Basil, I missed anything?
Nope.
All right. Speedy, thank you again, my friend. Hang out. We'll be right back, guys. We're going to do the close here. We will talk to you guys next week. We have a very special guest for you guys next week, which we will not reveal right now. You have to check in at the BSB Show on Twitter, and we will break the news there first. And you guys will be very, very surprised, as I was, when this came through. So it's going to be one for the ages. I swear this is going to be a very memorable show coming up next week. So you don't want to miss it. We will talk to you guys then. Everybody have a great week. Happy New Year to you all. Have a great 2021. Let's kick this thing off right, and we'll talk to you next week. Good night, everybody.
Bye.